What is going good? All Gridwisers out there. Jay from Gridwise and Brandon from Gridwise back with podcast number 2.
Podcast number 2.
Let's just jump right into it. The first topic is Uber driver scams going on currently. Now, check this out. If you are a new driver, you've probably not been aware that there are scammers out there after your hard-earned cash. And you might be asking, how are they going to steal my cash if it lives in the app? And that's exactly how they steal your cash, because they make you instant pay it to their debit card. Now you might be thinking, why would I be fooled into doing that? Well, let me tell you how they do this. Now, the scammers will always call you and pretend to be from Uber support. They'll ask you verification questions. Hey, is your last name this? Are you at this many trips, 1,000 trips in the last month? Is this your star rating? Here's your home address and is your pickup here? Well, guess what? All of this information they can figure out just by simply requesting you as their Uber driver. All they do is they use their Uber passenger app, they request a trip, they find out all this information, they call the driver, they call you if you accept it, and they say, hey, this is Uber support, I want to verify some information from you, and then they bait you in, and they go, okay, now, we are not actually a real ride. What we're doing is we're just going to ask you a bunch of questions, and at the end, we'll cancel this ride. You cancel it for this ride, and we'll credit your account with an arbitrary amount of dollars. And what they do is they get you hooked on that bait, and then they ask you, in order to get this $20, $30, $40 arbitrary amount credit to your account for participating in a survey, we're going to have to verify your instant pay is working. So the victim, in this case the driver, will enter in a debit card that they provide and then test the instant pay function by cashing out all of their earnings to the scammer. What do you think about this, Brandon?
Scammers are bold these days.
Bold.
That's just like such another
It really is.
step from like the IRS guys calling from wherever they are, like overseas or something like that. It's just like it's crazy bold, but I think it's also like, because we saw this on Reddit, right? And the guy, he almost like went through with it, and then he realized, wait a minute, why am I giving this person, or why am I entering this like?
Yeah, and it just shows you it's easy to. You may know all the red flags of a scam, but in the heat of the moment, and you're busy,
it's easy to just kind of get a little bit lost. Yeah, especially the thing that's interesting about this one is like there's a lot of like verification up front. That actually builds like a good amount of trust if you can just spit back someone's like license plate, because that's you've never kind of like seen that before.
Exactly. And as a passenger, you have access to the driver's license plate just for verification purposes. Like, how else do you verify that this is your Uber driver? You have their first, last names, driver, the plate in the back. And it's just how the scammers get to bait you. They give you this sense of professionalism. The story goes, the lady who was scamming him was very, very well spoken, customer service sounding. Hello, this is so-and-so from Uber customer support. Just want to verify with you that you want to participate in this survey, and let me. And then you say yes, and then they go, let me just verify to you your license plate, your first, last name, all that identifying information that you don't think twice of, and now you're reeled in to the whole spiel.
Yeah, it's like it's you can really get like roped in a little bit, but like the thing to remember is like pretty much no company is gonna like ask you any financial information over the phone or any like any information like that. So that's like a red flag pretty much immediately that you should kind of see.
Uber's official statement is, we do not ask you anything about your instant pay through the phone.
Right.
We'll never call the driver pretending to be a passenger. And that's how most of these scam artists they pull this scam as, this is just a random thing we're doing to collect more information and interview drivers at Uber. And they've also bait you with a reward. Like, if you finish this survey, you participate in it, you go through with what we want you to do, we'll credit your account with some money. And let's face it,
Right.
as Uber drivers,
But
we are after that money.
like, how bold is this though?
So
Because like, it's not like it's like I could totally just drive to wherever you are, right? Could I
totally.
not? And then just grab you and like call the cops? Like, what's stopping me
Well,
from doing that?
they put in a fake address. They as a passenger, you can set your personal pickup location to wherever you want.
Ah, yeah,
So
of
what
course.
this scammer did was set it to a popular hotel. So I didn't even mention that. So that's even more tantalizing for a driver. Imagine you're surging
Yeah,
and you get this trip ping from the Marriott, and you're like, wow, this could potentially be a high surge going to the airport. So you're gonna
right.
accept it.
Yeah, that's a good
Hmm.
point. Yeah, yeah. I guess that I get, and you probably have like a burner phone of like some sort or something
Probably.
like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's pretty. Yeah. It seems like
I feel
it's
like
it's
I feel like as Uber as a company should be more, taking more action and responsibility for this. I mean, these
I don't
drivers,
know
some
what they can
drivers would
do though.
rather
What can
head
they
on this
what
money.
can they do really though?
I mean, I could think of like one thing, which is don't let 100%. There's no verification process for Uber customers. Let's face it. Anybody with a fake credit card
Yeah.
or a prepaid Visa card can make a new account and
Right.
ride request drivers.
Right.
And that's just, I think, because they're not profitable and they are very worried about their revenue. I mean, this is just something that them as a business have to do. They have to do whatever they need to get customers to pay. If there's a willing person to pay them cash, they'll do it. I
Yeah.
understand that business part of it. But
They're definitely not going to put any barriers in the
yeah,
way of them getting money in their pockets. Like that's not
you know what, Brandon? At the end
happening.
of the day, it just all goes back to like how much do we screw the drivers, and just all of this just ends up screwing the drivers. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I would hope and I would assume like this is this happens to like a very, 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 very small percentage of drivers. Like I can't imagine like a lot of drivers falling for this, especially I mean, one thing that I think Uber should do, and I don't really know how much they have just put out like education about this, but I think at the very least they should just really, really, really kind of reinforce that hey, we're not asking you for this information, and just make sure that every driver is aware of aware of these scams. I think that's kind of like the best thing that they can do, and I'm not honestly sure like what they have been doing, but I mean I think that is should be a no brainer
I'll
for
tell
me.
you, as a driver myself, actively using the Uber driver app, I'll show everybody who is watching this right now. Show you my driver account. I've never gotten a notification about these scams. Like,
Really?
yeah, I've never gotten a notification about these scams. Here's my driver
Yeah.
account.
That's that shouldn't be a problem. Like if people are literally like losing like paychecks over this,
And
like
I don't even
you
know
send
if
out a
Uber
notification, an email.
remunerates. I mean, do we even know that they get their money back? Like this Uber, I can imagine a company if they're willing to jeopardize drivers with unchecked, unverified passengers that enable scammers to do this. Are they also willing to eat the cost, at least temporarily, and go, okay, well, we'll refund you. I'll credit your account with whatever you deposited,
Yeah,
even though
but
it's your fault.
then they're gonna start like they're gonna want to like do like investigations
And
because
that
then you
costs
could
them
just have
money.
drivers doing that, like saying that they got scammed and then not get. I mean, I don't really think drivers would. Most drivers wouldn't do that, but like they will definitely like want to protect themselves from that
Yeah.
if that's the case.
And again, it boils down to like they're so cash strapped that's going to cost them money. They paying someone to
Yeah,
investigate. They have to file a claim, and they have to go after the criminal, the perpetrator, if they're even caught. That's the thing. If these people are even caught,
yeah,
you could just deposit it into a prepaid Visa card, and then just
yep.
take it out for
And
cash.
you'll never need to like worry about who, or never need to like put any like information that's gonna get lead back to you. You take it out of the ATM one day, and that's it. So yeah, that's definitely a problem. I would hope that, and maybe we should just on our like for Gridwise just send out like something just kind of like saying, hey, this scam is like going on. Just like
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
yourself. That would actually be a good idea.
And
We should
I think
probably
that's a
get
great
that.
idea, Brandon. We have 70,000 active drivers on the Gridwise platform in 32 cities. We have the the capability of sending an email blast out to everybody on our network
Right.
and just telling them,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Why don't we look into that, Brandon? I think that'll be a good thing, a show of faith that us as an entity, as a company ourselves in this rideshare space, we do care about the rideshare drivers. We are rideshare drivers ourselves, many of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's definitely look into
yeah,
sort of email communication there.
so let's send it
Because,
out.
like you said, Uber, I wouldn't say they're cash strapped, but definitely they are profit
Yeah.
strapped. They're not
When
actually
you're
making
burning
any
$5
money.
billion a quarter, Brandon, let's say you're pretty
Yeah, but they
cash.
also just raised. Didn't they raise? I don't know how. I can't remember how much they raised like in their IPO, but they raised a shit ton
The
of money
market
in their
cap is
IPO.
50-some billion dollars. They raised enough money in their IPO, basically. They're fine.
They need to figure out how to make money,
And
but that's
very
probably
quickly too. At that, maybe they should
that's one of
start
their.
scamming passengers. Oh wait, they have been.
Also, cutting costs, which is like our next topic, right?
Yeah, cutting costs. What do you have for us,
No
Brandon?
no more coffee
Really?
at Uber HQ.
No more coffee.
That's a bummer. Yeah, it sounds like that they're getting rid of some of like these little perks that they have, like like their coffee and things like that, and kind of like changing a little bit of the company culture
Oh my.
by removing some of these perks.
So you're telling me employees at Uber are no longer drinking fancy coffee? Like,
No
are
more
they
fancy
downgraded
coffee.
to Folgers now, like what we drink, or what is this? What are they drinking originally?
I don't know. They're just getting K cups now.
I'll tell you what they were drinking originally. They were drinking a custom coffee blend from a very artisanal roaster based out of, I think, Seattle. I forget the name, but it's very.
Is that real? Are
No,
you
I'm
joking right
dead
now?
serious. I read it. It was very expensive craft coffee that they were providing to all of their employees. And I'll tell you right now, in our office, we're pretty much drinking Folgers in your cup. So, hey, look, what?
That's funny.
How much of a are they saving by doing this? Do you think, Brandon?
Not much at all. Like from like the pure coffee thing, like they're not saving that much money at all. Maybe I mean I don't know. It's a big company. They're probably saving like a couple $1 million, but they they lost $5 billion.
Yeah.
Last quarter.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna get them there.
Can you imagine how demoralizing that must be for employees to just notice these little small cuts and go, is my job in trouble, or are we in jeopardy? Is the company helping?
Well, I think like Uber in a whole is like you're definitely given like the amount of changes that they've been having lately. Like they have, from my count, I think what did they let go of 800 people in the marketing? It's either 400 or 800 people in the marketing team, and then I think 400 people in like their product team. You're doing that type of thing. Then you're getting coffee. Like you're definitely gonna have morale start to suffer. You also just reading like the headline, it's hard to like you go into the office every day reading like how your company is like going under.
Yeah. Interesting things. And I'm sure this is gonna be many more cups coming on through. Probably no post-it notes either next time, provided by the company. But
yeah,
definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah, it's like just they're doing everything they can though to figure out how they can make some money, including cutting coffee.
Talking about cutting costs. Let's talk about cutting costs as a driver. Now, many drivers have been in this situation where you go pull up to a passenger and they come out with more than fits in your car legally, and they go, "Hey, it's okay." Other Uber drivers have done this in the past. I know there's 5 or 6 or 7 of us, but hey, we're just right down the street. Can you take us? Now, Brandon, I've heard stories of some bold drivers out there taking action into their own hands and sticking it back to these passengers who are quite literally just taking advantage of Uber drivers at that point, saving money because they won't order Uber XL. when they have too many people for Uber X. So the drivers would wait there for a full, I believe, 5 minutes in front of the passenger and cancel on them and therefore collect their cancellation. Because let's face it, these passengers, they ain't canceling themselves. There's one account on Reddit, someone pulled up and said, hey, you know what, I can't fit the 5 of your friends. And she goes, okay, well, too bad for you, driver. You're going to have to cancel because you refuse to take us. You know what that driver said, Brandon? Driver said, oh, that's okay. I'll just wait out the timer and they'll charge you anyways. And he rolled up his window. Taking cost cutting into our own hands.
Yeah, that's
a bold move too.
That's like there's like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of cases with that. There's like the what happens if you have too many people. There's also like if there's a kid like in this like kids is like 17 or 16 something like that, or like 15, or if there's like a real kid like a 2-year-old gonna have a car seat.
Yeah, that's illegal, by the way, and not safe.
Right. I mean, none of those situations are safe. Like if you have too many people in your car, like
which is also legal. You get a ticket.
Yeah. Also, like you don't want to be having underage kids in your car for a lot of different reasons.
Multiple reasons. So we got
don't do that.
Bold scammers, lack of bold coffee in the workplace, and now bold passengers asking Uber drivers to cancel on them. What else is next? Do we have a fourth bold topic?
What's another good one for today? Uber, this is kind of an interesting story that you would have totally called, and it's kind of like, of course, this is how it works. But the safety investigators, the Washington Post, actually, they had they did a video interview with one of the safety investigators at Uber, and she kind of talked about, I think she was a former safety investigator. She talked about how Uber was basically optimizing to protect Uber and not necessarily protect passengers or drivers, really. Is that what you got from that video, Junda?
Yeah. So that was interesting, and it kind of made sense to me and also kind of demoralized me. I mean, obviously, like with any company, human resources, HR, it's for the company, not for the employees. I mean, the department is there to ensure that nothing too bad happens, that you get sued and you go out of business. Now, same thing with Uber safety office department, whatever it is. Now, these are safety violations that happens between passengers and drivers. Mostly assault cases, inappropriate driver behavior, inappropriate passenger behavior, and a slew of other things that can all go wrong during your ride on your trip on Uber. And they train their agents first and foremost to protect Uber's interests. It boils down to the way they address and they frame their questioning. Also,
yep.
Go ahead.
Comes down to money again. I mean, Uber is one thing you got to understand about Uber. Love them or hate them, they're very much a capitalist company to the absolute core, right? So, for better or worse, they're gonna do what makes sense for their top line and their bottom line, right? So if it's not going to be kind of absolutely necessary, they're gonna protect them. They're just gonna protect themselves and they're gonna look out for themselves. Whether that be from the standpoint of how they structure their bonuses or how they structure their safety investigations, they are thinking about how they can protect themselves and make sure that they're maximizing their earnings.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's almost I would not expect anything different from, again, just a for-profit, very capitalistic company.
It's the way they even structure their questions and they frame their questions that was very insidious. It wasn't like, oh, something happened to you, I am sorry that this happened to you, because that's like admitting fault. That's admitting and agreeing with oh, maybe this happened to you, maybe you are right.
Yep.
No, the way they would frame it is I'm sorry to hear about this incident. Here, it's not.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? The way they frame it, and that's how they're trained. And these are the first people from Uber that you come in contact with as a passenger or as a driver if something bad goes down.
Yep, it's just that legalese, a language of you
You
can't
point
quite
with your
say.
thumbs, not with the index finger. You see how
Yeah.
it did not have with that woman.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that's just like how it goes with like these companies. So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I was not surprised at all by that.
Well, what do we have to say to our wonderful viewers out there?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know. Give us your comments, like let us know what you think. Give us your comments in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about Uber and their safety investigations and what they should be doing about like these scams going on. Like should they be doing something a little more active? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and also make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We will be doing these weekly. Brandon and I are hard at work finding topics that are relevant to rideshare drivers across the country. That's it for me. You got anything else, Brandon?
No, that's it, Jay. I will see you guys next week.
All right. See you guys.